So because this part ended so goddamn abruptly, especially for the last part in the whole series, I want to close out on some of my final thoughts on the game, you know, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it. But it's going to be mostly positive, because it's a Tony Hawk game, you know, I like the Tony Hawk series. The first time I played this game was way back when it first came out, but I didn't actually own it. It was a family member that was living with me at the time who owned it. And like, I watched him play it every now and then, but like, I never really 100%ed it myself. And that's probably why I was kind of like, you know, really unsure with the later half of the game. Like, I really didn't know what I was doing. And I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. I mean, blindly going into a game and then saying I'm going to 100% this, you know, it's kind of ballsy, because like, I didn't really know where this game was going to go, especially in the later half of the game. So I'm glad I did actually manage to get all the way through it, so that's cool, and I'm glad about that. One thing though about the playthrough that I'm not 100% sure I'm happy with is how long it went on for. Very long, and it's 6 months. If you look at the first video, it was 6 months ago, and that's pretty freaking crazy, you know. Most of that is down to my upload schedule, but this was a very long playthrough, even if you discard that fact, because for the most part this was pretty much a blind playthrough. Probably won't be doing another blind playthrough again, because I like to be prepared and I like to know what I'm playing, so I can talk about it. As for the game, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, I loved playing through it. It was really fun. It's one of the lengthier ones, you know, it was really packed full of stuff. 190 goals, which I think is way more than what's in the next game, Tony Hawk Underground. So yeah, like they really put as much as they could in this game, and I think that's partly due to the fact that they discarded the whole 2-minute time limit thing, you know. There was a lot more variety within the challenges because they discarded the whole 2-minute time limit thing, you know. They couldn't have done the whole snake run slalom thing in 2 minutes, you know. You couldn't have transitioned from normal skating to snake run slalom, so that really benefited the game, and I think that's what it was really going for when it first came out, you know. This was definitely its transition to open world skateboarding, which not a lot of people like, but because of games like Tony Hawk Underground, I'm very thankful they did make the change. Plus, in later Tony Hawk games such as Tony Hawk Underground 2, you know, they did re-implement the classic mode, so classic mode isn't gone forever, you know. I'm glad Neversoft took the Tony Hawk series in this direction, because it was definitely the change the series needed at the time. I'm not saying that Tony Hawk 3, you know, was stale by that point, because it really wasn't. I would have played Tony Hawk 3 forever, I still play it today. It's just, video games were moving on into a different era, and like, if they would have stayed with the whole Tony Hawk 3 formula, I reckon the whole series would have been left behind, you know, and Tony Hawk Underground wouldn't have existed. So, Tony Hawk 4, glad for its existence. I'm glad it exists. In terms of the actual skateboarding gameplay, you know, it's standard Tony Hawk fare, you know, there's not really much to say about it because it's literally Tony Hawk 3. And to be honest, that's okay with me, you know, it's don't fix it if it ain't broken sort of thing. I might be talking out my arse here, but like, I think Tony Hawk 4 is a little bit snappier, a little bit more quick, you know. I'm not going to say it's more responsive, but it definitely feels quicker. They've tightened up the animations and flipping is a little bit more quicker and stuff like that. There's definitely a lot more variety in the tricks you can do as well, like double tapping grabs and stuff like that, the manual combos, flatland tricks, grind combos where you can alter your grind when you're grinding sort of thing, pressing different buttons and stuff. That's a real cool feature because it makes combos just move more fluidly, and that's a win in my book. As far as everything else goes, the levels are obviously bigger because they had to put more in them, and I know more isn't always better, but they didn't go overboard. I really do think that they found the right balance of how much to put in a level and not make it overbearing, so that was real good on Neversoft's part. The online isn't a feature I can really talk about, seeing as I have absolutely no experience in it whatsoever. I know for a fact it isn't working on consoles anymore. I'm not sure about PC though. I'm not sure if there's any mods out there for the PC version of this game. I don't really know how the online works on the PC version, but yeah, it's an old game and you can't really hold any of that against it. Thinking about it now, are there really any cons? You know, I obviously had a gripe with Bam Margera's trolley mission, but was that because it was hard? I can't really put my finger on it, you know, it definitely didn't control very well, but did that add to its challenge, you know? Obviously it wasn't intended for the control to be bad, but I still managed to complete it, and when I was made to play through it over and over again, I did actually get good at it, so is it really bad? No. But is it a good feature that they added in the game? I don't think so. I'm not saying it's a con, it's just, it's some of the challenges, you know, are too different. You know, when you're buying a Tony Hawk game, you don't expect to be going down a hill in a trolley, and it is a bit ridiculous. So read into that as you will. If you like that ridiculous sort of stuff, then it's not a con to you, it's not a bad point of the game. But really, the core problems that you may have with the game are really just down to opinion. You know, you could say that the Alcatraz level wasn't very good, or in my opinion the shipyard level wasn't very good because it was too small but yet too tall, so like every jump was too far or short. It was just a bit of a frustrating level to play through. But then that's not really, you know, a con, that's more of an opinion. So really, if there's an aspect about the engine or the programming or the controls that you don't like, then you're probably not one for the Tony Hawk series. But anyway, I am rambling now, aren't I? As you can see, the credits ended absolutely ages ago, and I'm just showing some combos that I did in my spare time. So I hope you enjoyed watching that. So because I'm at risk of making this video even longer than it should be, I'm going to stop it there and say thank you for watching. And I do want to leave on one more thing, and that is RIP Neversoft. News of the company closing its doors was floating around on the internet of July this year.
Neversoft is no more. After Neversoft was paired up with Infinity Ward, parent company Activision announced back in May that the two studios would be merged to create a single super studio. The studio will retain the Infinity Ward name, effectively retiring the Neversoft name and iconic eye logo. A model of the company's logo was set ablaze yesterday by studio members to commemorate the closure.
It's sad news for sure, but we still have a bunch of great Tony Hawk games from this company that we can't forget. Games which I will eventually get round to playing on the channel, so stick around for that. Once again, I thank you for watching. You guys rock. As always, I've been Acro, and I'll see you next time.